Donald Trump did a truly bonkers interview with Megyn Kelly. And one of the moments was him giving the whole game away with this whole impeachment effort against President Biden over allegations they are incapable of substantiating after months and months and months of investigating. And here, Josiah, Trump gets asked about the impeachment effort, or the impeachment inquiry as it's currently being pushed by Kevin McCarthy, and says, if Democrats hadn't impeached me, I bet they wouldn't have impeached Joe Biden. Oh, so it's not based on concerning facts about Joe Biden. He's a criminal. No, it's retribution for an impeachment that they're still sour about. Take a look at this.
Important, and they did it to me. And had they not done it to me, I think, and nobody officially said this, but I think had they not done it to me, and I'm very popular in the, they like me and I like them, the Republican Party, perhaps you wouldn't have it being done to them. And this is going to happen with indictments too. They have fake indictments, and I think you're going to see that as time goes by. You're going to see Republicans, when they're in power, doing it. And
so if they hadn't done it to Trump, they probably wouldn't be doing it to Joe Biden, which I rarely say this, but Trump's correct about that. But the fact that he thinks that's an acceptable thing to say is pretty stunning, because it is him exposing what we're saying, which is this is just an opportunity to both get revenge for Trump's justified impeachments and also muddy the waters in the minds of Americans about the significance of Trump's wrongdoing. Okay, yeah, I know there's some people saying that they don't necessarily have the evidence, but there's just a lot going on, and Biden's being accused of a lot of things, and he was also impeached, so maybe Trump's not as bad as I previously thought. That's the idea here. Trump gives it away.
Yeah, so obviously there's still a stigma associated with impeachment in the minds of many Americans, as well there should be. And the idea was that it was reserved for high crimes and misdemeanors. It was meant to be a tool of last resort against a rogue officer of the United States government. And as you said, this kind of serves a couple of purposes. Number one, it demonstrates that the Republican Party, even though Donald Trump is not an official office holder, he's not the president, he's not in Congress, he's not the Speaker of the House or Majority Leader, he still has an iron grip on the GOP. He is their de facto leader. It also, as you said, muddies the waters, because if this proceeds to a full impeachment, or if they drag this out, they can say, well, it's two impeached presidents running against each other in 2024. And then, as you said, even if there's obviously infinitely more substance to the two impeachments against Donald Trump, those are also, number one, in the past, right? And America's, we as a society have a very short-term memory. So that works in Trump's favor, because Biden's impeachment will be much more recent. And it's just an anchor around the president's ankles, which we do not need going into this next election season. But you know what? I'll say this. At least this pathologically lying, malignant narcissist, every now and then tells the truth.
Yeah.
But he tells the truth in a way that Kevin McCarthy, ironically, and others absolutely won't do, except when they're cornered in a certain way by the press. What's your evidence for the impeachment inquiry? Well,
how dare you?
It's more like a vibes thing. It's like an impeachment inquiry is kind of like a constitutional vibe check, Luke. I don't know if you know that, but apparently that's what it is.
We're getting bad vibes, and we're going to find the impeachable offense in the impeachment inquiry. Huh?
Exactly.
I do encourage everyone. I am keeping this on my desk. Can't even see what it is. Too bright. But 14-page document released by the White House, Ian Sam specifically. I went over and did a segment you can find on the YouTube channel. If you want my analysis of it, it's the response from the White House to the impeachment allegations, or the ones that they're basing this inquiry off of. And Ian Sams does a very nice job of breaking down, here's what they're accusing Joe Biden of. Here is why it's illegitimate and definitely not justifying an impeachment or impeachment inquiry. And that is what, as I said during my segment yesterday, you would do if you have facts on your side. Trump doesn't defend his indictments by going through the allegations specifically and citing all the evidence as to why they're not legitimate. He just goes, it's political, persecution.
It's a witch hunt. Yeah. There's no comprehensive point-by-point refutation that you expect, certainly not from Trump, and arguably not even the Republican Party as a whole. But what's interesting is we're talking about this Megyn Kelly interview, and I don't know if you're ready to talk about another part of it, but I sure am. Yeah, so we're later on in that interview, Megyn Kelly, and I'll say this, I do want to say before we play the clip, Megyn Kelly is a partisan hack in the worst possible way, but she does again have her moments where she is a tough interviewer, okay? And she kind of asks a tough question for Donald Trump, particularly about Trump's association with Dr. Fauci. Now, those of us, I would argue, in the sane middle or the sane left, we have an appreciation for Dr. Fauci. He was a bipartisan public servant for decades under Republican and Democratic administrations, but he's reviled by the modern day Republican Party. So with that in mind, let's play this clip in which Megyn Kelly asks him about his relationship with Dr. Fauci.
Fire Anthony Fauci was because he'd been there for a long time, that you would have taken heat, that it would have created a firestorm, quoting your words. Then for the first time in May...
I also said I didn't listen to him too much.
I'm getting there. But then in May, you started saying, well, he's a civil servant, so I couldn't technically. The truth is, though, not only did you not fire Fauci, who is loathed by many, millions of Republicans in particular, but also some Democrats.
By the way...
You made him a star. You made him a star. This is the criticism of you, that you made him the face of the White House coronavirus task
You think so?
force, that he was out at every presser, that he was running herd for the administration on COVID, and that you actually gave him a presidential commendation before he left office. Wouldn't you like a do-over on that?
I don't know who gave him the commendation. I really don't know who gave him the commendation.
Presidential commendation. One went out to Mark
Somebody
Miller, too.
probably...
I don't know who gave him the presidential commendation. Well, Luke,
Look to the first word, sir.
I was going to ask. Remind me, who was president at the time? Who was was it
Donald
that guy?
J. Trump. Yeah. That's the strangest denial of reality. You gave it. And I love how he goes, did I? About you made him the face of the task force. Did I? Which for Trump, he's in this bizarrely impossible situation, which I don't care. It's fine that he has to be in the situation because it's his fault, right? But he has now allowed the conspiracies to run so wild that they're devouring things that he would in a previous situation want to take credit for, like Operation Warp Speed, which was part of why he gave that honor to Fauci. And now he has to both not admit that he was wrong because he wasn't on that. He wasn't wrong to wherever he did take Fauci's advice, or even though he really didn't that often. But on the correct steps he took, he can't take credit for them. But he also can't turn around and go, yeah, the vaccine was a conspiracy to put a chip in your body to blah, 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 because then that's very bad as to how it reflects on him. So then he gets this weird middle place where he'll say, well, DeSantis liked Fauci and I didn't like him, but I did everything right. So
you think I liked him? Ron DeSanctimonious, Meatball Ron liked him way more than I did, Meg. No, I mean, it's so pathetic. He's in this awkward position. I'm with you. I have no sympathy for him because he created this. Like, this attitude within the MAGA cult is either something he created or exacerbated. He had a responsibility to nip this in the bud, both as the nation's chief executive at the time of the pandemic's outbreak, but also as the leader of that party. And instead, he was almost like he couldn't make up his mind about what Fauci was to him. At times, Fauci was a friend who he publicly praised multiple times. And then, of course, the presidential commendation, almost said condemnation.
How can you expect him to make good choice on that when he was too busy coming up with great new innovative solutions to COVID, such as injecting bleach? He was a busy guy at the time.
Have you thought about chugging Drano? I hear it's a really good way to stop the virus and other things. Yeah, no, 100%. It's just, it is, as you said, it's ironic. The one good thing, I don't even know how much credit you can give Trump for this, but let's do the thing where we say that a good thing happens because of a presidential administration. Yeah. We give some association with the president itself. So let's say we give Donald Trump credit for Operation Warp Speed and the vaccine. That's the one good thing to come out of his administration, the one enduring good thing to come out of his administration. And it did save millions upon millions of lives, thanks in large part to President Biden's successful vaccination rollout in 2021. But Trump can't take credit for it. If not for the body count associated with it, hundreds of, have we hit 1 million? I think we're over 1 million
way
at this
more,
point,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. It would be almost laughable if not for that body count that he created the situation where the one good thing, the crown jewel of his administration, the one thing he didn't screw up he screwed up. He can't take
and
credit
it's
for it.
within the context of him messing up the broader response. So when people think of, gosh, why were we so angry at Trump, voters that is, during COVID, and we voted him out of office, it was because of that horrible response. But as we talked about previously, the memory of the nation often tends to be short-term politically. And so Trump could, if he took credit for everything, as a lot of presidents will do, he could go, stop thinking about the bad things you remember about my response. Injecting bleach, that was a joke, whatever. Only remember that I was in the lab making the vaccine. I did that. And that could be a replacement memory for a lot of people as to how Trump fit into the picture of COVID. And instead, he can't answer to that. So it's a reminder of how irresponsible he was during that period of time. Pretty stunning stuff. Thank you so much for watching. For the outro on this video, I want to plug Josiah's channel. Hit them with it, Josiah.
Hey, everybody. I appreciate you watching. You can find me at youtube.com/@ponderingpolitics. One word, pondering politics. If you like progressive commentary that focuses on coalition building with other elements of the left and calling the Republican Party out for what it's become, I hope you'll view my channel. Give me a like and subscribe and some feedback. Again, youtube.com/@ponderingpolitics. Thanks again.